Good evening. My name is Gary Meadows, and I'm here to talk to you about my residency in the Administrative Residency Nursing 671 program. My residency topic that I chose was with disaster management. I have a strong interest in disaster management and actually work in the emergency department as the ED disaster coordinator. So some of my goals and objectives was, to gain a better knowledge and understanding of the hospital responsibilities. Felt like that I had a pretty good knowledge base of what takes place in the ER and what needs to take place, but wanted to get a better idea of how that worked throughout the hospital and how decisions made within the hospital impacted the decisions and the resources that were sent to the emergency room. I also wanted to look at what efforts are being made by our hospital to partner with our external partners, such as our local EMS agencies and our regional preparedness coordinators, the Near Southwest Preparedness Alliance. The preceptor that I chose to use for this was Roger Glick. He's got a master's in science, an MBA. He's a certified emergency manager, and then he's a certified healthcare executive. He's the senior emergency management consultant for Korean Health Systems. He's also an instructor at Virginia Tech, Korean in basic science and pediatrics. Some in particular, more specific goals that I wanted to work on in the residency program is develop a working knowledge of the roles and responsibilities of the members of the incident command team and how they respond during a disaster. Also wanted to, as I mentioned earlier, identify the collaboration with the external partners during a disaster response and how we kind of fit into their plans. Develop a working knowledge of collaboration with external partners such as the Near Southwest Preparedness Alliance. And then also wanted to get a better working knowledge of after-action reviews and how we use those to develop future plans. So roles and responsibilities of the incident command team. I was actually fortunate enough to be able to meet with that group on a couple of occasions and sit in on a tabletop exercise. We got to watch each position and how they function during that exercise and ask any pertinent questions that I had. I gained valuable knowledge in how each area oversees their part of the operation, how they have reported up to the incident commander, and then how they make decisions based upon that information. Also got to watch the communication, and it's an intricate part of what happens in a disaster, and to kind of see some of those workings behind the scenes of the communication that takes place was really neat. With external partners, gain valuable knowledge in how we integrate our plans with Roanoke City and Roanoke County EMS agencies. We actually have those guys come in and partner when we're building our hazards vulnerability assessment. We also partner with them so that we both know what groups are identified as their biggest risk to the facility or to the locality. Also gain some valuable knowledge in long-term care facilities and how and what their plans are in a disaster, and how they plan on moving patients or how we plan on moving resources to that location versus just them sending all the patients to Roanoke Memorial. Some of my work with Near Southwest Preparedness Alliance, I got to listen to and learn a lot about Ebola. That was a big thing during the semester, and what kind of plans were taking place and what we were doing regionally to prepare for that. I was also very integrated into the planning at Roanoke Memorial and how, when we were going to respond. Also presented an Ebola assessment tool to the state to become an Ebola assessment hospital before we made the decision to back away from that. I gained valuable knowledge in how the regional resources are allocated and how they're deployed through something called the RHCC, the Regional Healthcare Coordination Center. And NISPA is developing an Ebola and infectious disease strategy and education committee. I've been asked to serve as a content expert on that, so I thought that was, a plus from this residency program. After-action reviews. After-action reviews are kind of the last part of the disaster process, as they call it. Mitigation, planning, response, and recovery. And basically, after any disaster, you should shut down and talk about what happened and develop an after-action review. Figure out what you did well, what you did poorly, and then figure out strategies to improve moving forward. So that was a real interesting process. It's an initial step of making any changes to any existing plans. So I got a couple of unique opportunities as part of this residency. I got to tour the World Bank Emergency Operations Center in Washington, D.C. 5 days after the Paris attacks. So that was kind of an interesting thing to see their operations and how they trigger and how they monitor situations around the world. Also got to tour Nova Fairfax's campus and their Emergency Operations Center. It was really a good experience to kind of sit and see how those guys do it. Their regional health system, like we are, they have like, I think it's 5 hospitals in and around Washington and Northern Virginia, and basically they use the resources across their whole health system to pull from one place to the other, which is a little different than we do it at Crayon. So had multiple opportunities to work with the incident command team. Felt like that I developed some relationships with those guys that will be key moving forward in my regular duties at RMH. And also with the collaboration with the Near Southwest Preparedness Alliance, I developed relationships there that I think will help, not only myself, but the ED at Crayon Roanoke Memorial in the future. So in conclusion, working with Roger was fantastic. If you hear of anybody that wants or has an interest in disaster management, he's a great preceptor, very knowledgeable on the ins and out of emergency management, and was very helpful to me this semester. Overall, this exceeded my expectations. It helped me get a better understanding of the 30,000-foot view that the hospital incident command team has to make of any disaster, and how they focus on hospital operations and how they keep those going during a disaster while we do what we do in the emergency department. So it provided a unique perspective for me to be able to experience that from that position, which I don't know that I would ever got to do outside of this residency. So that's basically what I did this semester. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.